Welcome to Retirement Decoded with your host, Scott Tucker, where we break down the complexities of retirement planning to give you clear, actionable advice. Whether you're just starting out or getting ready to retire, Scott's here to help you make informed decisions and secure your financial future. Tune in each week as we simplify the process and decode the path to a stress-free retirement. Now, here's your host, Scott Tucker.
And we're back. Welcome back to Retirement Decoded, the podcast with Scott Tucker. I'm your host, Scott Tucker. And my podcast sidekick today is Associate Advisor Max Wren. Say hello, Max Wren.
Hello, Max Wren.
Max Wren, we have a question here from, who's this from? This is from Barbara. And Barbara says, Scott, does the Affordable Care Act insurance program have maximum lifetime limits? ? I've searched this many places and I don't see an answer. Thank you. So, Barbara, the Affordable Care Act, the insurance policies that are ACA compliant, they comply with the stipulations of the Affordable Care Act. They do not have maximum lifetime limits. Now, you need to be careful because there are policies that are what they call non-ACA plans that they do not comply with the Affordable Care Act. Now, they've been made legal again. That was some years ago. There was some court fights and whatever else, and the courts decided that Americans had the right to buy non-ACA plans. And there were already short-term medical plans. That was one way. That was one kind of shortcut around it, or a loophole in the ACA, the Affordable Care Act of 2010. So do the ACA? Barbara says, do the ACA insurance policies have maximum lifetime limits? No, the ACA plans, the ACA banned lifetime benefit limits on health insurance policies, but the policy itself has to be ACA compliant. If it's a non-ACA plan, like a short-term medical plan or another plan that does not comply with the ACA, then you do have limits. You could even have exclusions. They could say, we're going to insure your whole body except for your left kidney. They could say, we're going to insure you from everything except for asthma. They could say, we're going to pay for all your aches and pains and everything up to $1 million, and we'll cut you off. A whole bunch of stuff like that. And Barbara says, I've researched this many places and still don't see an answer. Thank you. Barbara, I'm licensed in Illinois for health insurance. And Max, we have a full-time Medicare broker also.
We do. They're awesome.
Yeah. So if we have, Barbara, you sound like you're not quite 65 yet. Congratulations. She's staying young, Max.
That's good.
She's a youngster.
She is.
Oh, boy. Around here, if you're not 65, you're a youngster.
Hey, I mean, people laugh, they groan, they roll their eyes when I say that. But, I mean, you should see our clients in their late 90s, 100s.
Our most experienced client, and I say life experience, our most experienced client is 101 years of age today. Max, we sent her a little record player and some Frank Sinatra records for her birthday.
I love it.
It's fun. Her daughter lives a couple houses down from her. Keep an eye on her that way, you see. So, Barbara, do the ACA insurance programs have maximum lifetime limits? No, but you got to be so careful that you don't buy a short-term plan or you don't unknowingly. You could buy a short-term plan. You just got to know what you're getting into. Short-term plan is short-term. It does not have to renew. And also, there can be a lifetime limit on the benefits. And usually a short-term plan might be 6 months long. It could be, some of them are 3 years long, but they have a time that and Max, how that protects the insurance company, they'll say like, okay, Max, I'll insure you, but I'll only insure you for the next 6 months. So if you get some catastrophic cancer-y thing, I'm only on the hook with you, and they might have a cap on it of $1 million or whatnot. So they might exclude, so a non-ACA plan and or a short-term plan, they might exclude pre-existing conditions. So an ACA plan, you don't have to go through medical underwriting. They can't exclude any pre-existing conditions. There are no maximum lifetime limits on benefits, and they can't get rid of you. So, and sometimes they'll say they can get rid of you at 65 when they're Medicare eligible. But because all those things are in the favor of the insured, the insurance premiums on those are through the roof.
Yeah.
So you might get a subsidy and you might not. Now, Max, we've seen people play games to try to keep their reportable income low to get a subsidy. Then they screw it up by like $1 or something and have to pay a bunch of money back.
I've seen that happen. Not one of my clients, something I was kind of brought into. But yeah, it's not something you want to mess up.
We've seen people get a big subsidy and then do a Roth conversion and not tell us that they're getting a big subsidy on their health insurance. Like they went out and did this, they played this game where they get this big subsidy for a big expensive health insurance plan that they really were selecting too expensive of a plan and too low of a deductible. That's another story for another time, maybe. And so they got this great big subsidy and they didn't tell us they were getting a subsidy. Then they said, yeah, I want to do this big Roth conversion. And then they go, wait a minute. A couple months later, I got this notice that I got to pay all this money back from the subsidy from the stupid too fancy insurance I had.
Not really something you want to try to fix after the fact.
Yeah.
You know?
I can tell you being health insurance licensed and that, what you want to do is when you're buying health insurance or any kind of insurance, you want to take the biggest deductible you can that you can survive. So you get that premium down. Cause if you're going to have they're not going to do this, but if you're going to have like a $500 deductible on your health insurance and there's no medical underwriting, they have to cover every pre-existing condition. They can't rate up your premium for pre-existing conditions. They can never limit your benefits, and they have to keep you to say age 65. Those premiums are going to be through the roof. And, and then you're wondering, why is it so expensive? Well, because you want everything your way.
Yep. Can't have it both ways.
It's like you want to fly, I don't know, where would you go? You want to go first class nonstop to Dubai.
But you want to pay Spirit.
You want to pay Spirit prices.
Right.
Yeah. You want to pay Spirit prices as if you're flying from O'Hare to Indianapolis. But you're like, no, nothing but the best for me. I want to go first class Dubai nonstop. And then you say, well, wait, if I don't show enough income, then the government will pay for most of it. The government, there is no government, the people. And when then you show income, the people want the money back. So Barbara's done some research. Barbara, you can work with, if you want to get a hold of us, we can connect you. I don't focus on it full time. You got other things to do, but we can connect you with a health insurance broker that helps people that are under 65 years of age, and we can find you a good health insurance broker in different jurisdictions. I'll show you how to look that up. Just go to tuckerretirement.com. If you need help with Medicare, we can help you as well. When you work with a health insurance broker, you don't pay any fee. The health insurance broker may receive a commission, or usually does receive a commission from the insurance company. You want the health insurance broker to be independent so they can shop all these carriers. They can look, Blue Cross of Illinois, let's say if you're in Illinois or whatever state you're in. Maybe they look at United Healthcare, Aetna, Humana, a whole bunch of them. Now, same thing comes, Barbara, when you become Medicare eligible. We do have a full-time Medicare broker. You can get on the phone calendar with the Medicare broker at tuckermedicare.com, or just go to our regular phone calendar for tax planning. It's not tax planning, retirement planning. You do that at tuckerretirement.com. At tuckerretirement.com, get on our phone calendar. We'll spend 15 minutes free with you on the telephone the coming week. Get your questions answered and your answers question. Now, a good retirement planner should be helping you through your investments, your tax planning for retirement, your health care planning, also to include long-term care, which we could talk about as well, and help you with information on wills and trusts, Medicaid asset protection trust as well, to help you with long-term care, and also Social Security strategies. A lot of folks, Max, there was a study Forbes did and a few years back, and they found only 4% of Americans file for Social Security retirement correctly.
Yeah, I believe that.
96% of Americans fail incorrectly. And even a couple of years ago, the average household in America, the study found, left $111,000 on the table on unclaimed Social Security retirement benefits.
Yeah, we're talking with a lady earlier today, and she took it at 62. She didn't need it. She did not need the income. She just took it because that was the earliest she could get it. So,
boy.
Yep.
Yeah, not usually a good idea. You can lock in a low benefit that way, and you can even make up to 85% of it federally taxable if you haven't dealt with the other retirement accounts in a tax planning sense anyhow. Max, have you seen anything with clients where they ran into trouble with health insurance or Medicare?
Oh, yeah, all the time, especially a lot of the Affordable Care Act stuff. I mean, if your income goes past a certain number, you're losing a lot of those benefits.
Mm-hmm. So, Barbara, when you're talking about ACA, Affordable Care Act, health insurance, you're asking about the lifetime limits, which on the ACA compliant plans, there are no lifetime limits. One thing we see a lot of, kind of spurred a thought for me, Max, or maybe it just kind of popped in my head as we're talking. We're seeing an issue where you might get the insurance policy you want, but then you might have a provider network or something you don't want. So you might get an HMO that has a much broader and better provider network. And then you might say, oh, I don't want HMO. Then you go buy a PPO instead. And the PPO might even cost less than the HMO, but then you might find the PPO, the network is so limited that you can't see your doctor. So there's a lot of that. What used to be PPO used to be the thing you wanted. And now they know that's how consumers shop. So they have like a stripped down PPO where it has almost no doctors in it. And then they have HMOs now where HMOs protect the insurance company because you need a referral from your primary to see your specialist. But the HMO might cost more than you would think it should, but it has a huge, broad provider network, so you're paying for that network. And the insurance company is partially protected in that you have to go see your primary care. So you're not just going to every specialist in town for no reason. I also kind of wonder, Max, how much the PPO really gets abused. It seems like whenever I needed to go to a specialist and I had to have my doctor give me a referral, doctor's like, oh yeah, it makes sense. Here you go. And so I don't know how much that HMO thing really saves the company money.
Just, more red tape you got to jump through.
It seems like, unless you're just like the most bored person in the world, say you're 64 and you're already retired and you have the PPO, 64-year-old insurance.
Yep.
And you're just going to every specialist in town for it that you shouldn't be going to, I guess.
You got I think they do that.
You got to be really bored though and really like sitting around waiting rooms.
Hey, when you're retired, you don't have anything to do. Yeah, I guess that takes up some time.
Is that how you want to spend your time in retirement, Max?
Me, no.
I can't stand, I was in the Navy for 5 years and I figured out that I stood in 5,000 chow lines. Oh boy. And then people wonder why I won't stand in line for anything now.
Yep.
Like, what do you mean you're not going to stand in line? I'm just going to do something else. I'll be back in 20 minutes. I'm like, I'll just go sit on a bench. I'm just not staying in that line. People love to stand in line for things.
You'll love this story then. So my dad's working for the Air Force right now. He works for Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Dayton. But the gate to get into the base, it takes about an hour to get through the gate. And, just so you can go to work. So you got to sit in an hour line every day.
In a car or on foot?
In a car, yeah.
At the base, they have a line that takes an hour to get through?
Yep, takes over an hour.
Is that for the gate for contractors or is it for everybody?
I think it's for everybody.
An hour?
An hour. I'm not exaggerating.
What are they doing? The bomb sniffing dogs and mirrors under the car?
Oh, they take it pretty serious. It's right, Pat. So, but it takes an hour to get through that line.
Does he get paid to sit in line?
Yeah, it'd be nice, but no, I don't think so.
Yeah. When I was in the Navy, I was stationed in Edsall, Scotland, and we went to there's a Royal Marine base. So they call it RM, Royal Marine Base. RM Condor was nearby, or half hour. I don't know. It was for where we were in the middle of nowhere. It was close, and we took our we had the Marine cadre get us rifles and ammunition and stuff, take us to the range, and we went to on our day off, because there's not a heck of a lot to do in Scotland. So hey, let's go to the range. And we get this, we call it a duty van. So it's just a work van type of thing. And we go over there and we've got our rifles and ammunition and stuff. And we're allowed to, in the United Kingdom, under certain conditions, transport, firearms and ammunition and stuff. And you have to have the Marine cadre from our base take us over there. And we get to, this is 92 to 94. So the Troubles, in Ireland, the Northern Irish Protestants and the problem was Northern Ireland was mostly Protestant and a little bit Catholic.
Yep.
And then the Republic of Ireland is mostly Catholic and hardly Protestant at all. And there's a whole long history, and a lot of you probably know this. If you're listening, you might already know this. There was a time when the English took Scottish Protestants and some of the Midlands people, they call it Midlands where Scotland and England come together, but some of those Midlanders and some of those Scottish Protestants and stuff, and the English kind of repopulated Northern Ireland with those folks, and those folks tend to be loyal to the crown and loyal to the United Kingdom, But there's a lot of people who are already there saying, well, you're not really Irish. You Northern, you imported Irish. You're really, they call them like Scots Irish, or they had names for them and stuff. I bet they had some names for them. So I think the Troubles, whatever, just ended like in 92. But there were times when in London there were bombings, and there were also as any American service members or commands, we are always careful with ourselves that we weren't mistaken for British service members. The IRA, the Irish Republican Army, tended to leave Americans alone because a lot of the funding from the IRA came from American Irish, which you're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to fund terrorist organizations.
Yep.
But anyway, so they tend to take it easy on Americans in that. But we go to RM Condor, where the Royal Marine Base is in Scotland, and there, of course, could be a target.
Yeah.
And so our duty van, these Marines, these Royal Marines were pretty tough. They had, they were just tough guys. We knew them from out in town, having beverages with them. Sometimes we'd meet up, run, not on purpose, run into them, talk to them and stuff. They're tough characters. And they had the bomb sniffing dogs. They had the mirrors and the mirrors that go under the van.
Yep.
They're like looking at everything, and the Marine cadre from our base is like, here's our identity, and I think he had a permit or something he had to get to go over there, something or other. I can't remember now. And then they had, they're like, okay, open up the van, open up the back, and they had to look at all the rifles, the ammunition, and all the stuff, and then they let us on the base. And this base was like very Spartan accommodations.
Yep.
And we were all of it, not the cadre, the Marine cadre. He was like a Marine infantryman, like a 0311 infantry guy. And but the rest of us Navy guys, sailors, there's like 10 of us or something like that. We were all Navy cryptologists. Like we work with like computers and codes and stuff.
Right.
And we're looking at like the barracks as we drive through the base, and there's like formations. These guys, these Royal Marines, all formed up and like gonna do some physical activity and stuff. We're like, man, we got it good. We got it cushy at our base.
Living the high life.
Oh yeah. One time on our base was like about 900 cryptologists and then 100 service members.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, 900 cryptologists and 100 service members that were other things like storekeepers, personnel men, and stuff like that. And then we had another 1,000 dependents. But on our barracks, they call it barracks, but our barracks are really nice because some of our funding, we were in the Naval Security Group, which was cryptology, codes and stuff.
Yep.
But it was a Royal Air Force base, so it had 2 runways, but it had no aircraft. Had 3 hangar bays.
Okay.
No aircraft. What
was inside those hangar bays?
The hangar bays, one of them was like a commissary, like a supermarket.
Okay. Yeah.
And that had a gym and a barber shop in that one.
All essentials.
And a post office and a theater, like a movie theater. One of them was like a storekeeper thing, like for supplies and stuff. Another one was a indoor like track and tennis courts.
Okay.
But then there were other buildings on the property. And there were a lot of,
like you guys were having a lot of fun.
Sort of. A lot of work, though. And then there were some antenna arrays and radomes and stuff, and some buildings and stuff. And then we had signs on our fences around the base that said, like, guard dogs on patrol, no photography.
Were there guard dogs, though?
No, there's no guard dogs.
It's like those fake cameras you see.
Yeah. And then but every summer, when it was nice out, of course, every summer about July, we would get these anti-nuclear war protesters. And we didn't have any nuclear weapons. But they would come protest our base. And they would camp out at the front gate. There was like a little area that's like, we're like, well, it is kind of public land right there. And so they would camp out in the grass at the front gate and like, get the nukes out of United Kingdom, nukes out of Europe. Like, we don't have any nukes.
I guess they weren't working those days.
They'd be like, well, what do you guys do here? And like, we're studying we had an unclassified mission statement. We're studying radio wave propagation in the atmosphere. Something like that.
It's like, okay, just nod your head. Who knows what that is?
They had sometimes in the tabloid papers in Scotland, they had tabloids about RAF Edsel is tapping our phone calls or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, no, we're not. We actually had an agreement that if you're a host nation, that we didn't collect from that location on you.
As far as they knew,
we might collect on you from another location, just not if you host us, we don't collect on your nation from that base. That was something in 9. You said 9 and you said 18, I think. United States Signals Intelligence Directive. Anyway, something like that. Back in the day, Max, back in the day. Oh, but we had an American Marine. We had an American Marine come visit us for some reason. He had to stay with us for a minute, and he was infantry. He was in cryptology, and he had to stay with us for a short time and then move on, whatever. He stayed at our barracks for like 2 nights or whatever, and we had like free washers and dryers and all this. He goes, wow, your guys' laundry's awesome. I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, we don't have clothes dryers at my base. Like at his Marine Corps infantry base.
Yep.
They had washers. They didn't have any dryers.
Hey, just put it on the picket line, right?
They had all these clotheslines. Yeah. So cryptologists, you get spoiled. I showed my grandpa. My grandpa was a B-24 tail gunner in World War II. And I showed my grandpa photos of what we called our barracks. I had one roommate, and it looked like a nice hotel room. And we had kind of like a divider wall type of thing. Mm-hmm. And he's like, a nice tile bathroom, all this stuff. He's like, wow, we didn't have this in World War II. Well, my grandpa grew up in the Great Depression in Michigan. And he said when he was a kid, they were pretty poor. And he said, well, of course, the Great Depression kind of implies that, but they didn't have any insulation. So people used to build houses with no insulation.
I believe that.
Right.
Yeah.
So he had the siding, like the boards,
mm-hmm.
and then there were you could see like if it was sunny out, you could see the sun through the gaps.
Yep.
And he said there was times where he woke up in the morning, he had snow on his blanket.
It's that reminded me of the stories. My dad, he's a really big military history nut. He likes collecting stuff from Civil War, Revolutionary War, World War I, World War II. Anyways, he has helmets from World War I and World War II. And the helmet from World War I has no kind of insulation in it. It's just this metal tin hat helmet thing, and has a wire as the chin strap. Oh, wow. And then you look at the World War II helmets, and you actually have padding in there and stuff like that. So I feel like if you got shot in the head, the bullet, may get stopped with wearing that. Versus that World War I one, it is doing nothing. There's nothing, insulating.
Was it tinfoil?
Might as well have been. Yeah. So.
Well, so Barbara, about your health insurance and all that, I would recommend you work with a health insurance broker. We can help you find one. Go to tuckerretirement.com. Medicare broker, you can get directly connected with our Medicare broker at tuckermedicare.com. But if you're looking at Medicare, we probably ought to talk about your everything else. And so you probably ought to go to tuckerretirement.com, and we'll spend 15 minutes for free with you over the telephone and get your questions answered and your answers questioned. So Barbara, hopefully that long answer was, if not useful, maybe partially entertaining. So you've been listening to Retirement Decoded with Scott Tucker. I'm your host, Scott Tucker. That's Associate Advisor Max Wren. We'll talk to you on the next podcast.
Scott Tucker Solutions, Inc. has a strategic partnership with tax professionals and attorneys who can provide tax and or legal advice. Neither the firm nor its agents or representatives may give tax or legal advice. Individuals should consult with a qualified professional for guidance before making any purchasing decisions. A Roth conversion is a taxable event and may have several tax-related consequences. Be sure to consult with a qualified tax advisor before making any decisions regarding your IRA. The views and opinions herein are those of Scott Tucker Solutions, Inc. and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of AE Wealth Management, LLC. Investment advisory services made available through AE Wealth Management, LLC. AEWM and Scott Tucker Solutions, Inc. are not affiliated companies. Insurance products are offered through the insurance business Scott Tucker Solutions, Inc. Scott Tucker Solutions, Inc. is an investment advisory practice that offers products and services through AE Wealth Management, LLC, a registered investment advisor. AEWM does not offer insurance products. The insurance products offered by Scott Tucker Solutions, Inc. are not subject to investment advisor requirements. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing carrier. This podcast is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual's situation. Scott Tucker Solutions, Inc. is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during this podcast shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by Scott Tucker Solutions, Inc.